Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we've got Wednesday NBA action with 8 games on the slate here. We've got best bets with some looks at sides and totals for you guys in this one. And we've also got player props up in a separate episode, bringing both of those to you each and every weekday this season. So make sure to subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us. Also want you to head over to thelines.com and check out the email newsletter. You can get the link in the description of the video as well. We're bringing you plenty of great action up on thelines.com across all of these sports, including MLB, as we get into this season here coming up in within a month or so. So looking forward to all that. We've also got our player prop bonus bet in there, and that's coming out every Friday, 1-0 on the player props there, 1.4 units that we made there on our nice little same game parlay. So we'll keep that going for you guys as well. But let's jump into what we've got here for Wednesday. Nate, coming off a pretty good Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm feeling the team totals here tonight. I'm trying to lean into what I know to be true, which is the Charlotte Hornets are tanking, and under 106.5 against a good defense seems like a nice price for me. Minus 105 there to just take the under on that team total. I mean, this is a Hornets team that's failed to get to 100 several times in the last 6 here. Lost 7 straight, just putting a tanking masterclass on. I mean, the defense has been just as bad. So if you want to take Wolves -9, I'm not going to hate you there. But I just don't see where their offense is really going to thrive here. They're bottom 3 shooting in just about every category in the league. So it's just like there's not one thing you can look at like Minnesota limits this really well. Other than, I mean, Charlotte is scoring most of their points in the paint and on twos and on assisted twos, and Minnesota is just like not allowing that whatsoever. Even with Gobert out, their third fewest field goal attempts at the rim in their last 3 here. And, the last 2, their defense has tightened on the perimeter. They're holding opponents to 30% from 3. Just pulled away last night against another, tanker, I guess, if you call the Sixers that. If they're sitting Maxey, they might, they're in tanking shape. So similar matchup here. It is short rest, but I do think the Wolves really, really balanced last night in terms of their minutes and their usage. Like Ant only 18 points. They're getting healthy here, even though they don't have Gobert. They do have a lot more depth at the guard position, the wing position, and I mean the Hornets. Yeah, they're gonna roll out Nurkic tonight. That's just fantastic for you on both ends. And the big margin here is turnovers, right? I mean, the Wolves are second best turnover rate in the last 8 without Gobert, third best assist to turnover ratio, which says a lot about where their offense is at without him, and Nas playing the 5, and Hornets second worst turning it over. Last matchup, they held the Hornets to 93. Hornets couldn't hit a 3. Terrible assist to turnover ratio. Only thing they got going was 24 fast break points. And with this Wolves team a little more locked in, I think they'll get back in transition and be able to D up in the half court.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we're going to get the benefit of getting guys like Terrence Shannon and like backups for Minnesota who are going to bring it. So I'm completely fine with that. I think, not sure if you mentioned it, but yeah, Gobert, right, probably might be back as well. You talk about how good
he's coming back. Yeah, no, I thought he had been out and definitely just like listed out on the injury report. Yeah.
If he comes back, he's going to be negligible, honestly, in his impact. Like he might be looking at like 18 minutes. He's questionable to play, but it's him trending in the direction towards playing before they get to the postseason, so he can get some reps in for sure. Everything slows down. I mean, say what you want about his impact on the team in general. I think we're going to see a lot of like Jalen Clark and guys like that who are going to be big athletic guys. And by, I guess, the time that you're seeing most of them, it's going to be a lot of Nick Smith Jr. and KJ Simpson. So yeah, that's going to help that stagnant offense get stagnanter, if that's a word. But let's go over to
and I'm not worried about a 4-time depoy coming back to help with this team total under. I think that would just be good news if that is going to happen.
I was assuming we're on the same page there. So moving over to Utah Wizards, this is the toilet bowl for sure, but Utah also, if Charlotte's the masterclass in tanking, Utah has been sort of their mentor, I would imagine, because they've been doing it for longer and they could give them some tips. But they're doing it wonderfully well now, and so they're going to be sitting everybody, including Kessler, Markkanen, Collins, Sexton, everybody. I probably missed Clarkson, not going to be out there as well. So and they're still bringing Keontae George off the bench. I'm taking them plus 5.5 against the Wizards. Like, as we say, Where do you get the gall to be 5.5-point favorites, Washington Wizards? Not sure who you think you are all of a sudden, but they're going to be without Jordan Poole again, and obviously Malcolm Brogdon. So this is going to be the Young Bucks show with Bub, and even Keyshawn George is questionable. A couple other guys. Like, this is a team that also is now dealing with a few little dings and nicks to the guys that they're trying to play, and the young guys like Keyshawn George. But either way, like for Utah, you look at them in their last like 8 games where they've played with this lineup. It's going to be Filipowski, Collier, Johnny Juzang is going to start. You're going to see plenty of Bryce Sensabaugh. Stop me if these are your favorite players and you have their trading cards at home. But the way that they played with these lineups in their last like 8 games, basically all without Lowry, they played some good teams. And their recent strength of schedule has been a lot better than the Wizards, which has been the worst over the course of the last 5 games and who they've played. And for the Jazz over the last 10, playing the, like I said, a top 10 schedule, they're like 5th hardest. They played the Pistons. Yeah, they got shellacked by the Pistons at home. No excuse there. Again, Wizards, not the Pistons. They only lost by 8 to the Pellies with Zion and everybody. And then they had a nice win against the Timberwolves, and they beat the Dubs with this core of players and John Collins for like 2 of those, but not one of those wins. So like they're still getting it done enough. I would say, like, if you want to look at the way that they played over the last 10 versus the way Washington's played over the last 10. I mean, everything for both these teams is bottom 10 in terms of net and everything. But Washington's sort of a different team. Their offensive rating has dipped. Their passing, their pace has dipped as well. They've been gone from 4th fastest to 16th in the league, so right in the middle of the pack, and they're just like not just trying to push it and to get as many points as they can. And that's what you need if you're going to take anything to back the Jazz, is like a team that's not really good at getting into the paint, because they're not going to have much rim protection without Walker Kessler. And the Wizards at this point are getting into the paint with the 28th in paint frequency, dead last in their last 5. So they're not like going to the rim. They're looking for those baloney, drive and kick out threes that they do. And that's how the only person really driving to the rim is Alex Sarr. So it'll be him and Flip. And, I think Sarr probably has a good game as a result, but they're not going to be getting those threes off nearly as well either. If you look at the way that the Jazz are limiting threes in their last 5, a little bit better. On the season, they're dead last. In their last 5, a little bit better. Up top, I say a little bit better because it's at least not bottom 5, it's bottom 10. But either way, it's like 2 bad teams. Like one's worse, one's worser. And I'm going to take 5.5 points with a team that is playing better with this crop than the Wizards are with theirs.
Yeah, and if you're too late on the under here, I mean, that's gaining steam because the Wizards are now a Chris Middleton half-court team, which is just like completely flipped the way they played. They're gone under in 5 of their last 6. Really not even been close to this 233 total where it opened, and people immediately identified that it's down like 4 or 5 points. But that's just why you want the dog, right? It's just like this is not going to be a high variance game with a lot of points scored necessarily. It's going to be pretty clunky. A lot of young tryhards playing defense, and Utah has some young guys we like. Certainly, we love Isaiah Collier.
We sure do.
Another team total, though, this time over Cavs, 116.5. And this is moving in our direction. The total has actually gone down 4 points since I was researching it. I guess because Tyler Hero has moved from off injury report to questionable with an illness. The Heat, might be punting this game entirely. They have no Jovic, no Jaquez, but no, importantly, defensively, no Wiggins, no Ware, maybe no Davion Mitchell. And that would be just death for their defense. If you look at their most used lineups since the All-Star break without Davion, they have on average a 131 defensive rating. They are just absolutely smoked at the point of attack when they don't have this man. And even if they have him, like, it's the Cavs. Like, they have weapons all around the perimeter. You can't just stick him on one guy and be like, now you can't create. The Cavs average 125 plus in the following situations: in wins, on back-to-backs. After the All-Star break, they actually averaged 128. And at home on the entire season, they're at 124. Okay, so excuse me, a little bit below that. But for this team total to be 8 points lower than what they average at home is just too much of a nod to like, oh, the Heat play really slow. And I mean, maybe they'll play slow. The Cavs can still absolutely eviscerate you at a slower pace. They're going to win this game almost certainly. The Heat allow 118 in a loss. And that was before they kind of reshaped their team. Added these big wing defenders who now we know at least 2 of them are not out there. They've been playing super slow and still gone over this total in terms of the game total in 6 of their last 8. The concern for me was like with their offense is they just laid a complete egg when it was the 3rd and 4 nights against Atlanta. And that was super low scoring. But again, it's Cleveland. Cleveland drives overs. They on their own are going to put this over the game total, in my opinion. So that's like why even mess with Miami? Like maybe Miami loses by 30, but Cleveland will get their 120.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is scary low. Like, why is it so low for this Cavs team? I'm not sure either. I guess, like you said, maybe the third and fourth nights, but they've had a number of games to be able to rest guys. They've even just sat out a couple guys, including Mobley last night, who's probably going to be ready to come out fiercely. I guess who's guarding him now? Nowhere, no Jaquez, no Wiggins, no Jovic. You don't have a power forward. This team's in trouble. Like Duncan Robinson's going to be guarding one of the top three players on the Cavs. That's a problem. That's good. That's going to be a problem. So this is weird. I mean, once you get like Sam Merrill and Ty Jerome out on the floor in the second half in the blowout, just more threes raining down. Like you've got good offensive players as the backups. Dean Wade is a backup. You're going to have shooters out the gym. So like, God, this is weird, man. I'm going to have to try to see this a little bit more. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be tailing the crap out of this with you, maybe a couple of units. So nice find there. Let's go to Detroit. Well, we're going to LA, but we got Detroit winning, or at least covering -4 that they're road favorites against the Clippers, aging Clippers on a back-to-back. They were without Norm Powell and DJJ, Derrick Jones Jr. last night. Can't see Kawhi playing second night of a back-to-back. So it's the James Harden and the boys show again. Maybe you want some Amir Coffee props, but this is going to be one for Detroit. Let's just talk about them. Raise your hand if you're holding a 10-1 Detroit to make the playoffs ticket right here. Top 6 seed, or it doesn't even have to be. They could make the play-in, but I mean, if they make the play-in, that is a horrific field in the Eastern Conference play-in if you're looking at it. So the Pistons would be worlds better than anybody there. So feeling good about my 10-1 right now. And really, it's the way they've surged over the last, 15, but let's just take the last 10 where they're the number 1 defensive rated team in the league. They're the number 4 offensive rated team in the league. And caveat, they have played the third easiest schedule in the last 10, but in the last 15, it's like 16th in terms of strength of schedule. And they're still top 10 in both. They're top 10 in net. As a result, obviously. And look, the offense is not always going to be awesome, but the thing about the Pistons is that they can play in any style. If you look at their last 10, they scored 134 in a win. Their only loss in this last 10 is to the Nuggets, which was right after a tough, really nice, awesome win against the Celtics by 20. So we'll give them a little bit as the Nuggets were in a good spot there with extra rest and a lot of guys coming back. But like look, the way they've won is by blowing out the Jazz and scoring a $134. Nice win against the Nets by like 21, scoring a 115. It's like 119, 117. They beat the Clippers at home 106-97, right? In a really nice win. So it's like 106, then it goes up to 148 versus the Hawks. My point is this team can win how they need to win, and they have a lot of versatility all over the floor now. Jalen Duren is playing completely out of his mind and has played much, much better when he's on the floor because he's not getting those fouls. And he's done a better job of that. And that's a big reason why in the last 10, this is one of the best paint defenses in the league. Teams aren't even really trying to get to the rim. They're limiting teams to the lowest field goal percentage at the rim, 4th lowest in the paint. They're limiting the mid-range and above the break in the top 5 in terms of frequency and field goal percentage. This is an absolutely awesome defense with Osar now getting 25 to 28 minutes. Honestly, I never thought I'd say this. Ron Holland's athleticism coming off the bench has been helpful, and Beef Stew has not been a problem as well, like fouling guys the way Jalen Duren has so that they have no centers anymore. And so this defense has been for real, and that's a big reason for all of it. Number 1 in effective field goal percentage that they're limiting. So like the Clippers coming off a back-to-back, bad losses, tough losses anyway, against the Lakers, got smacked last night. And at this point, like I don't know who's going to even be out there for them. So I think 4 points is pretty nice. The Pistons have shown that on the road that they're capable of covering easily as well. So.
Yeah, first thing that jumped out at me looking at opening lines last night, where it was like -1.5 for Detroit, is like, thank you, we'll take that. Because yeah, the Clippers on a back-to-back. We had almost this exact same situation just last week, and except both teams were on a back-to-back, and it was after that 148 run and gun game with Atlanta for Detroit, and yeah, they turned right around, beat the Clippers by 9, and now they're in a significant rest advantage because they've won their last 2 by 20 plus against tanking young teams, right? They won't have Tobias Harris, but like the Clippers are not going to have a lot more guys. To your point, I would definitely lean towards the over, despite what you're saying about Pistons defense being good, because they're actually leading the league in pace since the All-Star break. And Clippers, yeah, you take guys like Kawhi off the floor. Maybe put Ben Simmons back out there. I think because he rested last night, and Clippers might be up for a little more run and gun here in this situation. And 219 is pretty low.
Yeah, could be. I would worry about their half court offense, but if James Harden's out there, he's a walking half court offense at least, so they can at least get that going. And then other guys will get out into transition. Amir Coffey loves to get out into transition, so I can see the over as well. But definitely got to see the injury report for LA. Don't need to see it to hit the 4 like we keep talking about. So nice to hear that we're on the same page there. And that's all the time we have for you in Best Bets. So make sure to subscribe to that page and check out the player props that we have alongside these as well. We're pretty hot right now. I would say this is the heater moment that we've been waiting for a couple months, that we're back on the groove there. So hopefully we'll see you guys in the other episode as well. Until we do, happy betting.